I'd like to welcome you to Wake Up and Stretch. I'm Rachel Peters. I think I actually know most of you in here in this room, or at least recognize your names. I'm a physical therapist and group exercise instructor at Agile headquarters in Palo Alto. Today we're going to go through a 30-minute full body stretch, some holding longer than others, some will be more dynamic, quick type motions. We'll be running through a variety of positions, so my best advice here is to go with what feels good. Stretch in a manner that feels good to you, good to your body. Don't push anything past the point where it's not feeling like a good workout for you. If you have a chair, a folding chair, or a stool to put behind, next to your mat or your workout surface, that might be helpful. And also a towel or a bathrobe sash or a yoga strap for some of the leg stretches might be helpful as well. Again, it's completely up to you. Move along at your own pace, and I'm looking forward to getting everyone moving this morning, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm going to be standing right in the middle of my mat so you all can see me. Feel free to stand, sit in your chair, or sit on the floor, whatever feels comfortable. We're going to start with our feet hip width apart. We're just going to settle ourselves up into our feet. We're going to lift the toes up, keeping the balls of the feet on the floor. All 5 toes are going to lift up off the floor. We're going to spread those toes apart as best we can. And then bring them back down to the floor one at a time, starting with those pinkies. Stretch them apart. Bring those pinky toes, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st toes down to the mat. And a couple more times. We're just waking up those arches. Good. And then we'll stretch those toes all the way back to the floor and shift the weight forward and back. Getting used to standing, getting used to being awake. We're going to come right back to our center, right over the front of the ankle joints, and shift the weight from side to side, foot to foot. Pushing the floor away with your feet a little bit, maybe softening up your knees a little bit, feeling those muscles in your hips and maybe even in your core waking up a little bit. We'll make some little circles around those bases. And we'll do the same thing the other direction. Last time, we'll take ourselves right back to the middle. Bring those feet a little wider apart, maybe as wide as your shoulders. Soften up the knees a little bit further. And from here, we're going to take our heads side to side. We'll look over one shoulder and to the center and to the other shoulder and center. Take it side to side through a range that feels good. You want to feel maybe a little bit of stretch on the side that you're moving away from. We'll move one more time to the other side and take it back to the middle. This time we're going to rotate, looking over the shoulder, and then nod that chin down towards your collarbone. Take it back to the center. Look over the shoulder, nod that chin, and back to the center. One more time on each. And center. Look over the shoulder, nod the head, look straight ahead, and we'll come back to our center. And we'll tip the ear side to side, ear to shoulder, and up and over to the other side. Sometimes taking your hands and clasping them behind your back can give you a little bit better stretch. Again, you want to feel that lengthening on the side that you're moving away from. Side to side. And one more time to each. And we'll take it back to the middle as we roll our shoulders back in circles. Roll them back. Good. Ear to shoulder. We're trying to take those shoulder blades all the way back behind the body and touch them behind ourselves. And let's roll the other direction. Those shoulders will roll forward. Maybe your elbows even get into the mix. Make a little circle, moving with those arms. One more time. We'll take it back to the middle, squeeze back and down a couple more times for good measure. And then we'll bend those arms at the elbows to 90 degrees. We're going to rotate those forearms out, letting the breastbone come up toward the front of the room. And then we'll come back to neutral. Inhale, open those hands up out to the side. And take them back to the center. Inhale, open them out to the side and back to the center. Inhale, open them out to the side and back to the center. With those arms down by the sides, we're going to turn those thumbs up so they face away from the middle of your body. We're going to take those arms up overhead and reach them back behind your head as if you're going to hook a necklace behind your back. Then we'll take them up and over. And as we bring them out to the side, we'll reach them behind your back like you're trying to scratch that itch in the shower. Big breath in, open up, hands come behind your head. And open those arms up and bring them behind the back. Again, if your shoulders are kind of stiff as you warm yourself up, feel free to take this through a range that feels good to you in either direction. No need to force it. One more time, inhale up, arms come back overhead. And arms come back behind the back. We're going to take those arms down by the sides. We'll roll those shoulders out one more time. And we'll do a few big snow angels, reaching those arms up and windmilling them down by the sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale them down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale them down. And one more time, inhale, arms up. And exhale them down by the sides. We're going to step into a narrow lunge. One foot up at the front of your mat, top of your mat or towel, and one foot staggered slightly behind you. That front knee is going to be bent a bit. You want your back foot to be anchored down into the floor at a comfortable position here. We're going to take your opposite hand to the bent knee. We're going to leave that hand on that leg. We're going to open up that other arm into a diagonal. We're going to reach it up toward the corner of the room, looking over that shoulder if you can. And then we'll bring that arm back down. Inhale, open up that arm diagonally toward the ceiling and take it back down. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, reach it down. And we're going to switch our legs. Opposite foot comes in front. We stagger ourselves into a small lunge. Opposite hand comes toward that bent knee. And we raise that other arm up into a diagonal. And then bring it back down. Inhale, reach that arm up and out to the side. And exhale, bring it down. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, reach it down. Last one here. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, bring it back down. We'll come back toward the center of our mat. Feet shoulder width apart. And we're going to cross one arm across the body, giving the back of that shoulder a bit of an opening stretch. We're going to reach across. That straight elbow is going to come toward your opposite shoulder. And we'll take a few deep breaths here, breathing in and exhaling, dropping that shoulder blade toward the mat. Big breath in. Exhale. 2 more breaths here. And last one. Big breath in. And exhaling. We'll take that arm down and cross the opposite arm over. Straight elbow is going to be reaching towards your opposite shoulder as we take an inhale and an exhale. Keep that breath going. Modification, if you get any pinches in the front of your shoulder, you're welcome to bring that arm down just slightly below that collarbone. Big breath in. Big breath out. And one more time. Big breath in. And big breath out. We'll bring that arm down by the sides. Again, roll those shoulders back a bit. And we'll move on to our triceps. We're going to take one arm up to shoulder height. We'll bend that elbow to 90 degrees. And we'll use that other hand to bring that arm up as far as you're comfortable bringing it up as that bent elbow hand touches the back of your shoulder. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time. Big breath in. And exhale. Switching arms, opposite arm shoulder height, bend that elbow, and we'll reach that elbow up and overhead. Big breath in, big breath out, and big breath in, and big breath out. Moving those arms down again, we're going to bring that opposite arm up and over one more time. Holding that arm up overhead. If you want to intensify the stretch a bit and add it to some more parts of your body, you can take a gentle side bend, getting those lats, everything under the armpit involved in that stretch. For a big breath in and a big breath out, taking it a little farther into that side bend. One more big breath in and exhale. Let's go ahead and switch arms. Opposite arm comes back up toward that tricep stretch. Holding that elbow up by your ear. We'll take a big breath in. Exhale, maybe we side bend it over. And we take another breath in. Exhale. Side bend, lengthening that stretched elbow all the way up toward the corner. One more time, big breath in. And big breath out. Let's take it back up to the ceiling. The arms come down by the sides. We'll roll those shoulders back and down a couple more times. And let's bring one arm forward to shoulder height and give those forearms a little bit of a stretch. Keeping that elbow nice and straight, we're gonna bend that wrist down, pointing the fingertips toward the floor, the palm toward you. Opposite hand comes to the back of the stretched arm. And we pull down to get a gentle stretch through the forearm. Take a few breaths here. Last one, and then we'll switch directions. We're gonna flip that palm up so your palm faces your screen here. And we'll take a big breath in and a big breath out, getting that stretch to the underside of the forearm. Inhale and exhale. One more time, big breath in, big breath out. And we'll switch those arms. Opposite arm comes up to shoulder height. We'll flex that wrist, pointing those fingertips down toward the floor. Grab the back of that hand, pulling down until you feel a gentle stretch on the top of that other forearm. Big breath in and big breath out. One more time, big breath in. And exhale, and we'll flip those fingers up toward the ceiling, palm facing the front of the room for a big breath in. And a big breath out. One more time, big breath in. And big breath out. Let's take those arms down by the sides. We'll roll those shoulders back and down again. And we're gonna make our way down toward the floor. As we make our way down to hands and knees, the mat can be a little bit tough or firm at some point, depending on how your knees are feeling. You might want to roll your mat up to give yourself a little more padding under those knees. Or if you have a rolled towel or a sweatshirt, you could certainly take that and place it right under your knees just to give you a little bit more cushion. Now that we're down on the floor, we're going to make our way to hands and knees. We're going to line up the wrists and the shoulders, the knees and the hips. Fingertips could point forward. They could point out to the sides, or we could even be up on fists if your wrists needed a breather. Another possibility, if those wrists don't like it, you could always be down on the forearms. From here, we're gonna line ourselves up nice and neutral, so the crown of the head points forward, the tailbone points back toward the wall behind you, and we're trying to keep the middle back lined up with your head and with that tailbone as well. From here, we're gonna move through a few cats and cows. We're gonna draw the belly up toward the spine, tuck your tailbone under and look toward that navel. Then we're gonna reverse it and go the other direction, looking forward, having that tailbone coming up toward the ceiling. Let's move back and forth between those two positions at your own speed. Thinking about dropping those shoulders away from your ears and gently pressing the heels of your hands, your fists, or your forearms, depending on what's touching the floor, down toward the floor for a little bit more stability through those shoulder blades. Let's curl it up one more time. Reverse that curve. We'll take ourselves right back to neutral and wag our tails side to side. Fold a hip toward a shoulder and drop that shoulder toward your hip. And then switch it up. If you want to get a little bit more stretch, you're welcome to cross the foot over, the opposite foot from the direction you're moving toward. And then look toward those toes. Taking it back to the middle, and we'll switch again, maybe crossing that foot over. We'll take it right back to the middle. One more time to each. Back to the center. And last one here. And we'll take it back to the center. And we're gonna rock back and forth. Gently drawing the bottom toward the heels, and then pulling our upper body back up to that all fours position. Again, we're moving through a range that's working for you, whether it's through those shoulders, through those hips, through those knees. Back and forth one more time. We'll shift the weight side to side, pushing the floor away with your hands. Keeping that back nice and still. Let's make a few circles around your base of support. And the other direction, driving that motion by pushing the heels of the hands into your mat, or your fists or your forearms. Again, whatever surface is touching that mat. We'll come back to all fours and we'll thread the needle. We're gonna take the arm closest to your screen, lift it up off the floor. Take it up as high as you're comfortable taking it to that first stopping point. Then if you have more room, you could look over that shoulder toward that thumb. We're gonna reach that arm through between where your hand and your other knee are. Reach it toward the wall, give yourself a little stretch, rotating toward that other side. And we'll take it up and out. Thread it through. Reach it up and out. Thread it through. And one more time, reach it up and out. Thread that needle. We'll bring ourselves right back to all fours and repeat with the other side. Opposite arm comes up and away from your screen and then threads through. Reach that arm up and out. Stretch it through. Reach that arm up and out. Stretch it through. And one more time, we'll reach it up and out. We'll stretch it through. Let's come back up to hands and knees, wiggle around a little bit again. We're gonna bring the feet together. The knees come a little bit farther apart from each other. We're gonna press that bottom back toward the heels. Again, finding a range that's working for your legs. We can stretch those hands forward toward the front of your mat as well. We'll take a few breaths here, whatever position is comfortable for you. If it feels good to bring your forehead to the mat, feel free to do so. If it feels good to press your bottom all the way to your heels, go ahead and do that too. As you breathe in and out here, think about dropping those armpits down towards your mat. We can walk the hands away from your screen, taking a big breath into that opening side, that lengthening side here. As we exhale, let's go ahead and bring those arms the other direction. Big breath in and big breath out. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out, and we'll take it right back to the middle. Inhaling. And on the exhale, we're gonna come up. We're gonna take a seat. The feet could be in front of us. You could grab your chair if you need a little bit more room, if those hips and knees don't like being in this position, or we can cross the legs, sitting crisscross applesauce, like my kids would say. We'll bring those arms out to the side. Thumbs are facing up. Hands could be down low if you need a little bit more space for your shoulders. We're gonna take ourselves for a side stretch, up and over. We'll lift up and exhale to the other side. Big breath in, coming up nice and tall. Exhale, side bend. And big breath in. Exhale, side bend. We'll take ourselves up. And we're gonna go ahead and turn over onto your back. We're gonna bend the knees, line your heels up with your hips, and your sit bones and your heels are gonna line up with each other. From here, we're gonna picture a clock face on your pelvis and abdomen, 12 o'clock to the breastbone, 6 o'clock to the pubic bone, 3 and 9 are on either side. First thing we're gonna do is rock those knees from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Letting that lower half of the body drive you side to side. We're trying to keep those shoulder blades down and let your trunk, lower part of your trunk, drive this motion. We're getting that core warmed up, getting your low back warmed up. We're gonna take it back to the center. And now with the knees stationary, we're gonna bring the pelvis from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So one cheek and hip bone lifts up toward the ceiling, and then we switch it up to go the other way. 3 to 9. 3 to 9. We'll take it right back to the center, and now we're gonna rock from 12 to 6, shortening the pubic bone toward the breastbone for 12 o'clock, and then lengthening away for 6 o'clock. Let's roll back and forth between those two positions. Again, through a range that feels comfortable. One more time. We'll take ourselves back to neutral where that pelvis is nice and flat. And we're gonna pull the right knee toward the chest, holding on above the knee or behind. We're gonna stretch that opposite leg out straight. And we're gonna gently pull the knee towards your opposite shoulder, giving a little stretch to that hip, the side of the hip and buttock. Take a couple breaths here. Coming back to the center, we're gonna hold on behind that thigh, and we're gonna extend that knee, bringing that leg toward the ceiling for a hamstring stretch. Again, moving through whatever range is working for you. What you hopefully will find is that as we stretch here, maybe flexing and pointing the foot, maybe wiggling the knee a little bit, maybe it gets a little bit easier to stretch. Maybe we take it a little farther. From here, we're gonna bend up that supporting leg, take your foot to your opposite knee. We can press out on that bent leg, just above the knee. We could take it a little farther by pulling that knee into the chest to get to those hip openers. You could slide that leg you're stretching slightly in toward the other knee if you needed to take some pressure off that joint itself, and we can rock side to side. Unwinding, we're gonna slide out that leg that we just stretched. We'll slide it out straight, pulling the opposite knee into the chest. And then we can pull that bent knee towards your opposite shoulder. Holding on to it there. One more breath. We can pull it back to the center, straighten that leg up to the ceiling to get into that other hamstring, maybe flexing and pointing the foot a bit. Maybe backing off a bit by bending the opposite knee if you need to. Maybe wiggling the leg that we're stretching just a little bit at the knee joint. One more breath, and then we'll bend that supporting leg, placing the foot on the floor. Ankle comes to your opposite knee. We can press that leg out to the side just above that knee joint to get into that hip opener area. We could pull those knees into your chest. We could maybe move that knee a little closer to your other knee if you needed a little more room. And we stretch out that hip opener, maybe by rocking side to side a little bit. And we can unwind, pulling those knees into the chest, making our way to our sides. We're gonna rest with that bottom elbow bent or straight, whatever's feeling most comfortable. We'll cradle your head in your hands a little bit. Knees will be bent slightly below your hips. Those feet will line up with your sit bones for a nice stable base of support. And from here, we're gonna open the book. We'll take that top arm forward, we'll reach it toward the floor. Breathing in, we'll take that arm to the ceiling. And exhaling, we're gonna reach that top shoulder blade back toward the wall behind you, letting the arm go with it. Inhale to the ceiling. Exhaling, we'll come forward. Inhale it up. Exhale it back. Inhale it up. Exhale it forward. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Let's take ourselves up through our cross-legged position and over to the other side. We're going to go ahead and lie down. And we'll open the book on this other side. Top hand comes forward. We'll reach it up to the ceiling. Take that shoulder blade back. Bring it up to the ceiling. And take that shoulder forward. Lift it up. Exhale back. Inhale up. Take it forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale back. Inhale, lift, and take it forward. All right, from here, we're gonna come back up. We'll take a seat on the mat one more time. Arms coming out to the side. Big breath in, exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift. And taking those arms back down to the floor, we'll make our way up to hands and knees for another cat and cow. Bring ourselves to neutral for another couple wags of the tail. Bring ourselves up to a standing position to finish up with a little bit of leg stretching for the front of the thighs. We've got the back of the legs while we were lying down. We're going to take ourselves into a small lunge again. If you'd like a little bit of a balance assist, you can grab your chair. Otherwise, we'll take ourselves onto our mat and a little bit of a staggered lunge again. We're going to hold ourselves here. Bending into that front knee just slightly. If you keep that back heel on the floor, you should feel your calf stretching a bit. Let's hold this for a second. Maybe one more breath. And let's switch them up. Bringing that opposite foot back. Try to keep those feet parallel, facing in front of you as much as you can. And keeping that back heel down will give you a little bit bigger stretch through that calf muscle. One more breath here. And we'll exhale. And we'll stand up nice and tall again. Again, this might be a time to grab your chair for a little bit of support. If you have a strap with you and want to grab onto it, you're welcome to put that strap around your ankle. We're going to grab the ankle or the strap, bending the knees, and we'll stand up nice and tall, pulling that leg back behind your body. You want to try to draw that heel towards your butt. We're going for some length through the front of the thigh, maybe the front of that hip, and down through the front of the thigh toward that knee. Go ahead and bring that foot down, and we'll switch legs, moving your chair if you need to. We'll draw that knee in line with your body and take a few deep breaths here. And breathe it out. One more time, inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to take that leg we just stretched and draw behind the body for a lunge. We're going to hold that lunge, squeeze the cheek on your straight leg, pressing that straight hip gently forward till you feel a little stretch in the front of the thigh. We'll take that arm up overhead and take a gentle side bend to get into the front part of the lower part of your trunk. We'll come up nice and tall. Arm comes down and we'll switch. Moving into the lunge on the other side. Maybe we feel the calf stretch. We squeeze the bottom and push that hip forward gently. We'll take that arm up overhead, take a side bend. Take that arm up to the ceiling and bring it down to the side. We're going to go ahead and bring those feet wide, turn slightly apart from each other. Toes are facing out on a diagonal. We're going to hold it here, and we're going to bend the knees a bit. They should be just nice and soft. If you're comfortable bending your knees farther, you're welcome to take yourself down into a little plie, little squat, the bottom slightly back, so we're not really in a true plie. And we're going to keep the hands right on the front of the thighs. We're going to dip down a little farther, now hinging through the hips to bring the crown of the head forward. We're going for a bit of an inner thigh stretch here. Feel free to support yourself through those thighs using your hands as much as you need to. We're going to roll those shoulders back and down here. And we're going to drop one shoulder forward, getting into a little bit of a stretch through that upper body. Big breath in. We'll take it back to the center. Inhale again. And on the exhale, we'll bring that opposite shoulder forward. And then take it back to the center. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll take one arm up and overhead, sliding that opposite arm down the side. We'll bring it up. And we'll take the other side up and over. And take it up. Let's clasp those shoulders behind the back, clasp those wrists behind the back, squeeze those legs together. Take a few deep breaths here. Exhale. Inhale, sending your breastbone up toward where the wall and the corner meet, in front of you, wall and the ceiling. And exhale, looking forward. Let's step those feet a little closer together for one more big breath in. Arms come up and overhead. And the arms come down. Feet together. Last one. Big breath in. And let's take those arms down by the sides. Well, I hope everyone is a little bit more mobile, a little bit more flexible now than they were 30 minutes ago. I'd like to thank you for joining me and would love to see you back on the mat again soon. Thanks so much.